they're probably going to be, though. It's probably going to be the ones featuring this guy, because he's pretty popular down in the bottom right. Our Red Terran player. It is going to be ByuN from the Shopify Rebellion. Up against the blue Protoss on the top left-hand side, it is going to be Zest. Oh, okay, so we recovered from the Reno versus Clem series. And we do have Zest is obviously kind of looking here to be... I do always think of Zest as a favorite here. I think it's really tough because I think ByuN plays some pretty good TvP at times. Like, Zest, I feel like, is a very scary PvT opponent, but ByuN has actually been really good in PvT, like, surprisingly good in my eyes. As we have this engineering bay down onto the natural. As you just see the probe, he's going to move around into the back. CV coming in, chasing that probe away. And again, our cybernetics core just going to be building up in the main scan, that ready to go. As it's going to drop the pylon down. And that's set up. Engineering bay taking a little bit of additional damage, nothing all too crazy. And yeah, this is cybercore coming in. It's all about halfway done. Engineering bay is going to be finishing soon. As probe just comes and nibbles. So nibble, nibble, nibble. Very frustrating having this block. And especially because, I mean, you just got to wait for that Zealot to come out. It's pretty much got full HP on it as well. And ByuN's just going to expand to the high ground. Actually expands before factory. So this is something we're seeing more and more of, as he does send this SCV back in. So obviously now you could go up into the main base to scout a little bit, or you can decide what you want to do. He pulls away to the side, just double checking there's not an expansion on the third base. That makes sense too, to be fair. Sometimes you do just run the probe out, put the, first expansion of the game in the third base location. You just kind of run from that position and see what you can do from there on out as this SCV pulls back over the side. Nexus is going to be completing in the natural. And 2 more barracks of ByuN building in the main base as well. So that's 3 racks in total, with this command center continuing through in the main. And yeah, that's where we currently stand with the Zealot sentry coming on in. The SCV going to get hunted. And he's really interested in what's going on, and he is going to get his scout on the Twilight Council up to the top side here. So ByuN is going to be able to see Twilight Council on the way in. Good information for him. He'll be happy with that. Meanwhile, our hallucination heads down the bottom right side, so Zest is looking to pick up on what ByuN is up to, which is, quite frankly, just a hell of a lot of marine production. And like I say, there's not really anything to make ByuN kind of, there's nothing ByuN has to deal with right now. No Stargate units, no units coming across the map early here from Zest. He is just leaving everything at home with this early sentry too, so yeah, just a hallucination is scouted and out and about, and it's kind of a weird opening to TvP, really. Kind of a weird opening. Alright, so the Forge is coming down the main. I'm just going to reiterate quickly, because obviously we just came from Reno Clem being live, and I know this is obviously a lot of people might have joined us during Reno Clems. Just to reiterate, this series was played about a week ago, I believe this one was. I don't think this was played a couple of days ago. I think this one was about a week ago. And just a best of 3 that was played. We didn't cast this Spring Championship live, and this is why we've been casting these Korean replays today. We didn't cast it live because it overlapped with the NetEase qualifier. So we did just collect the replays from our own tournament, and so this was played a week ago. I don't think this one was really played anywhere, so no one's really seen these games. I think they might have been cast on a Spanish stream, but there's not been an English cast of any of them. So unless you've been going out to other language streams to try and find out what's going on, then you won't have seen these games. So, I'm just going to be seeing a couple of probes coming through, and we do have this Bioforce coming through the bottom. Hallucination is going to take a little bit of chip damage. As our army just going to be coming across over to the left-hand side. So again, making a little bit of a push around there. That third Nexus in from Zest. And again, the Stalker, the Sentry. It's building at the front as well. So everything joining up together. Bioforce obviously has the upgrades, but getting up a ramp is going to be a little bit tough, and especially with the force fields available. Well, those initial force fields kind of missed, so you do cut everything off in the end, but maybe a few too many units getting through initially, because look how well ByuN's still able to trade, and now force field fades. He got every single sentry here, and he's just going to stim for a couple more stalkers. Why the heck not? In the end, it's probably not going to be too bad for Zest, especially with a super battery to support him here. Then we'll just run it back and get out of range of super battery. Will he turn now? He's just going to stim again. Now he's going to turn, forcing those stalkers to blink back. But he's actually got extra marines about to show up, and now Zest is going to have to blink back once more. And ByuN is going to be finally cleaned. Oh, well, finally pushed away. He still has units here. He did lose all his marauders, though. Oh, jumps in, gets a stalker kill. So able to pick that off right away. Able to pick that off. Well, 2 more gates coming down in the main base. Make that 3 more gates down in the main base as our bio army of ByuN will make its way forward. Go ahead and across to the far right-hand side. +1 attack and concussive shells coming through. Again, Marauder Marine in production. Just going to be seeing our bio army settling down at the front. Plenty of gates from Zest. He's obviously playing a... Oh. He's not even gone into charge yet. Just plenty of gates being added on. I don't know what Zest is really planning to do just yet, actually. Is he just floating money, so he just added a ton of gates? I mean, he should get charged. He just doesn't have the gas for it. Which is a weird issue to have, not having gas for charge. Yeah, he's going to start charge now, but this is going to be scary where you're basically going to be on pure Stalker production. If you build, and you can't really support pure Stalker production on what you've got, but if you build Zealots, Zealots aren't exactly going to be very useful here, guys, because, well, hate to be a bit of a spoiler tag, but yeah, the Zealots are going to be... Zealots aren't going to be great because they are obviously a... no charge. So, I don't know what you really do here. Zest, it looks kind of rough. And right now, he's struggling to fight. He's losing 8 probes as ByuN pushes one way. Still has the army on the other side. I mean, even if he's not killing more probes, he's denying the mining on this base. And, I mean, this is going to be cleaned up now, sure. But he gets one more Zealot out of it. Why the hell not? And ByuN just going to still... Maybe could even jump into the main. He's going to go, and he really wants to try and deny this Cyber Core, it would seem. Just can't quite get enough units close enough. He's actually going to lift and get out of there, so... Backing away for now before he gets chased down. All of this has been allowing him to build a 3rd CC in location behind it as well. So again, that 3rd up while everything else goes on. Swinging these couple medevacs back. They're going to be able to unload up to the high ground, of course. And again, just regrouping, regathering. Everything getting ready to go all over again. I'm going to crunch through the rocks right now. Charge will be completing soon as our armory is going to be finishing up. Depot's out the front and just going to be seen still as well. This ByuN force is pressing forward. This nation obviously gives you a bit of info. Zest is momentarily, I say momentarily, he's actually in a pretty big supply block here. He does not have a pylon building. So Zest does not have any production for the foreseeable future. Starts up 2 pylons right now, but that's going to give him a bit of a Zest bank. And ByuN will finally be able to here, I think, finish off this Cyber Core. So it took him a little while, but he'll be able to kill this and the Gateway. Zest probably just says, well, you know what, you do that. I've got Zealots coming across the map, and ByuN will have to deal with these. It's quite a lot of Zealots as well, so a couple of Widow Mines, going to have to try and draw them back into those. He's also got a decent amount of bio. First Widow Mine hits very nicely. Does a good job right there. And second Widow Mine doesn't get the chance to fire. 7 SCVs killed. Massive load up from ByuN, but this is in view of Zest, it would seem, because he just moved instantly. Ah, what vision does he have there? There's the Observer. I couldn't see the Observer because it was my screen was here, and I was like, where is it? Where is it? It's right there on the other side. ByuN realizes he saw the movement of Zest. He knows there's an Observer there. Figures that out now, kills it off, and now Zest is a little bit more blind. It's going to be a bit tougher to deal with this movement of ByuN. He has now just walked into another Observer. So Zest gets confirmation. ByuN's no longer making a play into the main. It's actually going to gather everything for a push towards the 3rd base. Let's see, a couple force fields going down. Man, I still just hate Zest's army. He's about to have double Colossus, but it feels like he's just been stuck on this low attack army for way longer than usually you'd want to be. You know, it's fine playing this kind of army to like 7, 8-ish minutes, but like we're like 10:30 and we're just now seeing 2 Colossi joining the fray. Ghosts are already producing from ByuN as these Zealots are going to come around, so he's going to try and attack over there with the Zealots, but at the same time, ByuN is just going to move forward, and I'm surprised we didn't see the jump on the Colossus there, because I felt like that was an option that ByuN had. A couple of Ghosts going to show up, but way too late to drop any meaningful EMPs. You know, this damage is already kind of decided as, wow, +2 attack and +1 ship weapons denied with this Zealot run by. It's actually killing the engineering bay is a pretty big deal. ByuN just not responding to that. I was going to say, I was like, man, ByuN hasn't really lost any SCVs to this so far. No, but he lost the freaking upgrades, and that's a huge issue. Slow down on the upgrade front. Just going to be a little bit worse at dealing with this. And not just the upgrade front, he lost the armory too, so you're going to have to rebuild the armory to go back into the +2 start. So it's not like you can just restart on that other engineering bay. In general, everything here is just being denied that little bit. The Stalkers make their way down the bottom. Ghosts moving through. Sorgus on a fire. Ghost taking a bit of damage. Bio Army continues to push on up, and another Marauder shot going in. Stalkers pulling forward. Medevac goes down. Another Widow Miner 2 being picked off as well. GTs will move into the natural as we're going to see a bunch of SCVs going down there. And those DTs will get cleaned out. 5 workers killed. I can continue to produce, just going to rally out the front. We still got this army kind of sat here and looking for the chance to press forward. Stalkers are going to come in. The refinery taking some damage. The Guardian Shield's going to pop, and here we go, moving forward. A couple of EMPs go down instantly onto those Zealots. AT just coming through. Again, Vikings, bio units continue to come in. Again, pushing those Stalkers back. The Vikings still moving through. Bio Army still pushing forward as well. I mean, we just have a bit of a standoff, right? As Zest is about a max. I gotta say, Zest, for all the pressure he was under early, he really did shut down ByuN from doing anything else after that. Despite his army kind of sucking too. I mean, he did really hold back on just 3 bases. Obviously, his 4th is extremely late from where it would like to be as a Protoss. And he did do some good counterattacking, including denying those upgrades. And now he's going to be 3-1 against 1-1. So he's got 2 attack upgrades over ByuN. So army kind of comes moving around the top. Stalker's going in, bit of damage dealt. ByuN has a decent Viking count. He is going to start moving forward here. The awkward part of this for Zest is he kind of moves into this kind of like double choke point, but if he has the numbers, it might not matter as ByuN's army is kind of melting away here, guys. Wow, credit to Zest. I did not like where he was at all, but just credit to him. I mean, the upgrade's obviously a pretty big part of this as well, especially, and ByuN loses 24 SCVs and the army fight on top of it, I think, is these last few units are low HP, and these Colossi are going to have no issue just lasering their way through those. Gun types out, GG. This was kind of a wild game. Gun traded kind of badly there, and he just really struggled to build back up off of it. That was like, what, 5 minutes ago? And that's where Zest pinged into that income lead as well. It's 5 minutes. What was that fight 5 minutes ago that just really screwed ByuN over here? It was just this trade. Attempts to drop, comes back down the bottom. He kind of fought. Yeah, it was this fight here. I mean, I get it. This fight isn't brilliant, and the Colossi show up as well for the fight after, and you're just kind of fighting into a choke, just kind of hoping to end the game while down on upgrades. And then you lose the upgrades after. That's also another kick in the teeth. Yeah. Neither of these fights were good, right? You come back in, and the Colossi are there. Makes sense. Yeah, and he doesn't have the armor upgrade during the majority of this fight, so That's just what swung it for ByuN. He just never recovered from this. And again, that was the time where these upgrades died. He just never recovered from that point on. I didn't think that was so bad for ByuN that it was gonna like lead to. I don't know. We might give it a go. I have this. I always talk about this, but same answer all the time. Very quickly is it's kind of a vicious cycle of because I cast so much, I don't have much time to play. Because I don't have much time to play, my like baseline mechanics get a lot worse, and then when I do try to play, because I can kind of see what I want to do, but I can't do it. It's very frustrating, and I'm like, I suck. And I hate myself because I can see how bad I'm being. And I know what I want to do, and I can tell all the things I'm doing wrong. And so I find it very frustrating to play, which leaves me not wanting to play, which means that even when I have time to play, I don't play. And then, you know, we go around in circles of I don't play enough into I suck into, you know, all that kind of stuff. On the left-hand side, it is going to be our red Terran player. It is ByuN. Down one map in this best of 3 with, in the upper right-hand side, the blue Protoss, Zest from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. And I believe Zest has had a decent run so far in this event. I feel like he's been doing pretty decently for the most part. Alright, Probe's gonna go for a wander down to the bottom of the map. Going to sit out over to this side, so maybe a second gateway opening. Yep, and then proxy that panel. And this is really taking the Protoss versus Terran scene by storm the last little while, hasn't it? These PVT proxy a second gate setups, people have been loving these. Don't know what it is, but people just like, don't know what it is about the meta specifically that's kind of shifted this, but yeah. I mean, I guess a lot of it may just be down to like skipping the Reaper and stuff, because a lot of people are skipping the Reaper. And if you skip the Reaper, you have a little bit less counterattack potential against someone who does just send all their units across the map, maybe. So you can get away with this pressure a little bit better. And I mean, in this case, ByuN is currently skipping a bunker as well, and that's very dangerous to skip the bunker. That's probably going to put him into a really bad spot here, because with no bunker, you're basically just fighting a losing battle this entire time against 2 gates of units coming at you. That tries to shade up that ram, doesn't quite make it, as we're going to be seeing the alien moving back around. Go around the left-hand side. There's a doubt from Zest is going to be finishing up. Right now, just 2 attempts. What is this shade? It's like, I want to be myself. We're going to shade into each other. Okay, 3 Adepts, 3 Stalkers. This is the attack that Zest has gone for a few times lately. This kind of triple Adept, triple Stalker setup. Jump in, 1 SCV, 2 SCVs go down instantly. Late bunker is just so bad here. 4 SCVs trying to finish the bunker. It doesn't happen, so already ByuN's given up workers for no gain. SCV that wasn't pulled to the high ground, and now you're going to start losing your reactor, so you're going to start losing production. Good news is there's a Banshee coming up. Banshee will help a bit in defending. Even better might be the Cloak of the Banshee to actually get across the map and do some damage, as this Hellion puts in some work. He's doing something to help out with the worker problem at the moment, as Adepts on the high ground providing vision. Now 4 Stalkers though, and that Banshee ain't going to be the answer to everything. And these Stalkers are going to turn back onto this orbital command. Oh goodness, this is definitely a bit of a problem right now. Stalkers is going to pick away at that orbital. We do have the Banshee of ByuN making its way to the upper right then. Batteries coming through, the Cloak about to finish up, Banshee will finish shortly. This tank coming in as well. There's a couple of Stalkers just going to put this orbital on fire. Getting rid of an SCV, getting rid of a Marine. Up here we do have this Banshee picking up some damage, a couple probes going down. This Banshee of ByuN is going to turn it into the main base. Trying to see what can be done here. Is not going to see another probe going down as well, so it's going to be seeing 3 workers being picked away at. And obviously, even with a battery, you can kill workers. It just is a lot slower. As the detection, and that's there it is. Super battery used as he runs out of battery energy initially, so even having to use the super battery on this is another little bit of pain. Okay. Problem is, it doesn't bring ByuN back in the game. He lost serious amounts of stuff in the setup here. You look at units lost 11 SCVs to 7 probes, 2 Stalkers and 3 demonstrated out for a Banshee and 8 Marines. Yeah, resources lost tells you that that is worthwhile. There are 2 more Banshees, so plug Banshees, two of them will one-shot a worker. So if you can get these in, and Zest has kind of skimped out on defense a little bit, if he sort of said, oh, I don't need it, right, I got rid of 1 Banshee, batteries will do the job from here, that's where ByuN could really come back into this, because flying in, even with a battery, if you just left the battery thinking at most 1 more Banshee's coming my way, then you're in serious trouble. And if you look at the defense now, Stalkers, kind of on the 3rd, nothing really in the natural, there's a few in the main. I think you get a few probes here as ByuN. Does it put him into better position? About 11 workers down now. I think the biggest issue for ByuN is how much he hasn't mined during all of this, but he's going to kill like 5 or 6 workers at the very least. 5, 6. He's going to go for more easily. 7, 8. Flying to the main base. There are Stalkers in the main base too, though. The moment the first Banshee dies, you start losing your chance to actually kill probes, though, right? Because when that first Banshee dies, you lose the 1 shot, and that means that the batteries will just heal up again. So it's going to be 8 workers killed. Hey, that puts ByuN back into playable range when it comes to worker count. Again, it is for me just the fact that ByuN was able to, Zest was able to mine that much more up until this stage. That's maybe where ByuN's issue will come from. So we'll get to Stim. I think what ByuN's going to have here is 1 big tank push, and I don't think he's necessarily going to take a 3rd CC. I think he might just pull the SCVs even with like a big tank push and just look to end the game against Zest, who kind of teched up kind of late in that first game as well. Because I think his strength may just be in that army supply right now. What do you wait for, though? Do you go with combat shields and +1? Probably, right? I think that's the time you kind of have to go for. He scans in the main, he sees the Temple Archives. So maybe you just have to go before then, while Storm is building. Hit before Storm, and just try and get the job done. That or you just try and play the longer game, but I'm really not convinced that I like the longer game idea right now for ByuN, unfortunately. Yep, there's the SCVs. They're going to pull. Away we go. So, there's an SCV pull aiming to hit before Storm. It's got potential. Zest is going to do the right thing. Coming out to greet this early. Wants to try and force this siege. Doesn't do that at all yet. Obviously, the sooner you force the siege, the more time you waste for the Terran, aka the more time you buy for that Storm. And I think Storm might actually get to finish here. Now, when Storm is done, SCV pull is actually on very good because you don't have to waste a lot on actually fighting the SCVs because they will just die running through the storms. So, gets a little awkward. The Prism has the High Templar inside. Here we go. They're just going to storm down. It's just going to hit the ByuNs with it, and it's been a pretty one-sided fight so far. 19 SCVs dead, and Zest's army still looks good. When you go for an SCV pull, you want to overwhelm the army. You want to kill enough of the army with the first push with the SCVs, that your army supply is just so much higher that Zest can't then ever get back in the game. That just doesn't happen here. And you can see that ByuN's army supply is going to struggle along. And it's even-ish on army supply, but of course ByuN gave up his entire economy to be able to do this. And so he gave up his entire economy, hence he will not go much further into this game. Zest is going to take the 2-0 of this series. GG's.